Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to an episode of the Free Skate. We have the 2026 Olympic Games going on right now. This video today is going to be a reaction video about the Olympic team event that has thus far happened. We have done all of the short programs, and we have also done the ice dance free dance. And so we have the standings thus far with 44 points, United States, 39 points, Japan, 37 points, Italy, 35 points, Canada, and 32 points, Georgia. The ones who did not make it were France, Korea, China, Great Britain, and Poland. This has been a very interesting event. We have had some wonderful skates so far at the Olympics, which is great to see. A really good crowd on hand for all the events as well. We're going to dive a tiny bit into this, and not too much because we have the rest of the event to go, but let's just kind of recap what we have. So, in the women's short program, we had Kari Sakamoto beat out Alyssa Liu of the United States. Carrie had a great program, a little tentative, I would say, but still great nonetheless. And it ended up beating out Alyssa. We also had Italy. Lara Naki Gutman placed third in the short program, which was a fantastic result to her. She had a wonderful skate. Republic of Korea ended up with the fourth place. Fifth place was Georgia. Sixth, Canada. Madeline Skiza skated really well. She did get a Q on one of her jumps. I feel like she was a little bit angry, and maybe she feels like she got a little bit underscored. Although she did skate really, really well, I do think maybe her program components held her back just a touch, especially skating after some of the other skaters, like the Korean, who actually skated really, really, really well. I think it maybe didn't show off quite the PCS that Madeline wanted to originally. Nonetheless, you know what? Canada ends up making the free skate, kind of exceeding expectations. I think Canada originally thought that they were going to end up in fifth place, best case scenario, but they actually ended up in fourth place heading into the free skate, which was a great result for them and only 1 point off a bronze medal. So that is far more exciting than I think Canadian fans would have thought. And a big part of that was Mr. Steven Gogolev showed up and had absolutely 100% the skate of his life internationally thus far. I'm so impressed with him. He has just gotten better and better and better throughout the entire year. And, if this is, a prelude to what is going to come in the individual event for him, there is going to be a little bit of an upset coming up. I think Steven could reach a placement that maybe not many people thought that he could reach at this Olympics. So it's going to be really interesting to see. He nailed his two quads, triple axel, ended up with 92 points. Really fantastic. I think the biggest surprise so far of the event was Ilya Malinin not winning the short program. He looked tentative He looked a little bit scratchy, not sure-footed. Definitely not his best skate. Yuma Kageyama came out and skated before Ilya, but was absolutely sensational. He was picture perfect, ended up getting 108 points, and heavily won the short program by about 10 points. So that was so great to see. One thing I will say that I noticed was Ilya's components were quite high, especially for a program that was a struggle, especially for Ilya. I did think that he was tentative. I do think that he was a little bit scratchy with his skating skills, and yet he still had PCS very near Yuma's. And looking at Yuma and Ilya skate, it was absolutely night and day. So I do think that Ilya got overscored a little bit with the PCS. But c'est la vie. I mean, he ended up finishing second. The USA is still in first place. One other thing I noticed in the rhythm dance, I did notice when we had the top ice dance team face each other, which was really interesting because, you know, it's another prelude to possibly what's going to happen with the rhythm dance in the individual event. The tech colors, maybe not the most strictest here, to be quite honest with you, thus far. They did give Guillaume Cicerone a level 4 on his Twizzle, and he clearly had a pretty big bubble check on it. That should have been minimum 1 level, if not more, and they did not call him for that. So that was one of the biggest things I noticed that they missed. I saw it in real time during the program. I don't know how they didn't review that or didn't see that, if there was a replay to it. So that was that. We also saw for ice dance, the British team did come away in third place. They did beat Piper and Paul. As well, Madison Chalk and Evan Bates had a phenomenal 2 programs. They just dominated. They ended up getting on 133 in the free dance. Looked sensational. I will say, if I'm getting really nitpicky especially about judging the twizzles that they have in their, well, I guess both free dance and rhythm dance, their twizzles get very close to almost coming to a stop in certain parts, and they lose ice coverage, yet they have one of the highest scoring twizzles in the whole event. So to me, that's a little bit crazy. I think the judges should be calling the elements as they see them and not based on reputation. But it's ice dance, this is what it is, and I guess we're just gonna have to deal with it. We had the Italian dance team come in, and they took second in the free dance. However, they were fifth. Yeah, they were fifth in the rhythm dance. So this is going to be very interesting to see. They did get good scores for them this year. I do think Piper and Paul can beat them. And I think it's going to be a struggle for them to get onto the Olympic podium. However, I will say this is the best I've seen them skate. They're both programs all year. Guinard and Fabry did not look as tired and as stiff and as clunky on the ice as they have in the past this year. And so they're looking up. I think it was really important for them to get off to a great start here, feel the ice, skate 2 good programs, and then they are going to, practice up for the individual event. Canada, I think, had a little bit of a I don't know if it's controversial, but a poor judgment error. I have a feeling that they did not feel that they were going to be really in contention for a bronze medal, and if it was, it would be like a really outside shot. However, they came into the free skate with only a 1 point deficit over the Italians. When they had to submit their submissions for the free dance, they did not have Piper and Paul. They sent out Marjorie and Zach, and that was the original plan. So I don't think Piper and Paul were practicing the free dance because they weren't supposed to do it. However, in this situation, I thought it was absolutely imperative that they put out Piper and Paul, because I did not believe that Marjorie and Zach could beat Greenard and Fabry, and as we saw, the results come in, that was indeed the case. So no, Canada is 2 points back of Italy instead of being probably ahead of them if Piper and Paul would have won, or at least minimum tied with them. They are back by 2 points. Italy has 37, Canada has 35 right now. And that, in my opinion, might cost them the medal. So for Canada to climb up to bronze, that means that Leah Pereira and Trep Michaud are going to have to skate completely lights out and make it close with the Italians. Also, Madeline Skizas and Steven Goglev are going to have to skate really, really, really well, and they are going to have to probably end up beating the Italian man and woman by a combined 4 points, because I don't believe that the pairs are going to make up any points on Italy. They're probably going to get farther behind. So I do think that Madeline and Steven are going to have to beat the Italian singles by 2 points. So I think that's an outside shot now for a medal for Canada. But like I said, they did kind of exceed expectations. And then, of course, we have in very much so bronze medal position the Team Italy, and United States and Japan are going to battle it out for gold. So we still have the men, pairs, and women to go. I'm not 100% sure of all the entries because I have not looked them up, but obviously Madeline and Steven will have to be for Canada. Lara Naki-Gutman will have to be for Italy. I'm not entirely sure who Japan is putting in. I don't know if they're sending Carey or somebody else. The United States, I believe, is sending Amber Glenn in for the free skate. For the man, I do believe they are sending Ilya. I feel like they have to send Ilya, because if they don't, then you are asking almost a for sure thing for Japan to maybe take them over. So we will see what happens. So far, it's been very interesting. Let me know what you guys think. If you think there's been any controversial scores, if you agree with what I said about Gilliam's Twizzle, and about Ilya's PCS. I'm kind of interested in those two topics right now, because I just feel they're more a little bit obvious kind of scores you could put down a little bit, and they definitely were not. So, yeah. So you know what? It is very late right now. I'm still up. In case you haven't noticed, my voice sounds extremely tired because I am. It's 3:45 in the morning. And the rest of the team free skate is going to start at noon this day, or somewhere around noon, my time. And we will see what happens. And I will come out with a video probably to recap the team and maybe preview the singles. So happy watching, you guys. Like, subscribe, and comment, and we will see you later. Okay, bye bye.